All right, so this is 3-point perspective. I just completed 1 point, 2 point, and this is 3 point. What I'm doing is I'm just taping the paper down. It just, so it doesn't slide during my demonstration. Oops, like it just did there. And I'm taping it to the grid so it helps me make vertical and horizontal lines if necessary. Okay. And I just realized something. 3-point perspective, you're gonna want to turn your paper this way. Reason being is because your third point is gonna be high. I can do it the other way, but it's not gonna work out as well. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna put a horizon line below, closer to the bottom of the paper. So that represents my horizon line. And I'm going to put a third point. I'm going to randomly, it doesn't have to be dead center, it can be anywhere up top. I'm just going to put a third point there. I have not put my other 2 points in, but with 2-point perspective, as we just went over, there's a left vanishing point and a right vanishing point. 1-point perspective, there's just a central vanishing point. In 3-point perspective, there's 3 points, obviously, but you're going to have your left vanishing point, your right vanishing point, and your third point. That's it. The difference between these 3 perspectives is let me go here first. 1-point perspective, 4 of the corners go to the vanishing point. 2-point perspective, 8 of the corners go to the vanishing point, with the exception of the vertical lines. In 3-point perspective, every line goes to a vanishing point. But the difference between 2 and 3 is that these vertical lines that are now parallel to one another, they actually converge. And to be honest, 3-point perspective is the most relevant to how we see things out of 1, 2, and 3. Meaning that whenever we look at something, things converge. Everything converges. You look down, you look up, you look to your left, you look to your right. Everything's in perspective. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, just like I did in 2-point perspective, I started with my corner. But every line you make that's vertical has to be connected to that vanishing point there. So I made a line and it's not perfectly straight, right? It's on a diagonal. I could have made a line perfectly straight on a diagonal, but I decided to do this. I'm going to put a little dot here and a little dot here. Just like in 2-point perspective, I'm going to connect that to the left vanishing point. And then I will connect it to the right vanishing point. Notice I'm not connecting all the way, it's just more to erase later, so you get the idea, right? This one got a little, took its own path, huh? All right, what I'm going to do now is just crop off an area that or the part of the plane. So there's 2 planes here, so like in 2-point perspective, we put these lines in, right? Same thing, however, they have to connect to the third vanishing point. So I'm going to put a point here, and I'm just going to connect those 2 points. But it goes that way, and if I want to connect it, but you can kind of see it's angling towards that point. I want to put another point here. All I do is connect those 2 points, and then I put a line through the plane. Now, see where that line intersects the line that's down here? I'm going to put a point here. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, put a point here. This side goes to the left vanishing point. And this side goes to the right vanishing point. And they connect right here. Now I'm going to make this transparent. Interesting thing about this perspective is because the vanishing points are close, things appear warped. or so severe in perspective that it feels distorted. It's not really distorted, just follow the rules of perspective, which is parallel lines converge to the same vanishing point. If this line's parallel to that line, they converge to the same vanishing point. That is the golden rule. So I took this back corner, connected to the third vanishing point. I'm going to take my left, where these 2 lines meet, that little dot that I had here, and I'm going to connect that to the right vanishing point. And I'm going to take this guy here and connect it to the left vanishing point. And they should meet, which they do right here. And I'm going to use my eraser just to clean things up a bit so you can kind of see the transparency. Oops. I erased an important part. But you can see the transparency here, so that's the back plane, that's the front plane. Now it starts to make sense. And this is definitely where atmospheric perspective can help you out, because otherwise it might flip-flop on while you're drawing it, on flip-flop as you're viewing it, in terms of like this becomes the back, that becomes the front, and it's difficult for you to differentiate between the two. So by applying the line weight, prevents that flip-flop from happening. And you can kind of see I'm just like letting it fade out. So that pulls forward. And I used a soft pencil, like a 3B for them. But these dull out fast, so you want to sharpen them. Now I'm just going to add 3 more rectangles. I'm going to put one on the ground plane. And you're going to use all the same vanishing points. So I'm just going to start off with my corner. Okay. Connect that to the left vanishing point, right vanishing point, left vanishing point, right vanishing point. Arbitrarily, where we want these planes to end, I'm just going to put a line here. I was just making sure I didn't share the same line there, so I wanted to move it out a little bit. And then I will just kind of make sure I don't overlap any of these lines. I'm going to put a line right here. I just connect it there. I didn't put the dot, I just figured it out that way. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to erase where it overlaps the horizon line. I'm going to erase some of these old lines from the other form. So you can kind of see this object. It looks like it's sitting on the ground plane, right? Excuse me, it's not floating in space like the other ones were. And what I'm going to do is take this far left corner, connect to the right vanishing point, and vice versa. Take the top plane corner, take it here, where these two lines meet, run it to the other side. See where these two intersect here, and these intersect here. In theory, they should run right up to that vanishing point. And if not, stretch the truth a little bit in your favor. Again, I'm going to make this a little darker so viewers at home can understand that this is the corner that comes closer to you. And the third one I will just do silently and talk about how I want you to submit these. What you're going to do is you're going to photograph these separately. If you have a well-lit area like I do here, perfect, photograph them. But if you put your phone over something, notice it's going to create a shadow. Don't want that. The best way to photograph this stuff is to grab a board of some sort. It could be or a piece of cardboard. Take it outside, lean it up against your wall, take your cell phone, and photograph it. You're going to get an even light from the sun. An overcast day is a better day. And you're not going to have a cast shadow unless the sun's directly behind you. If so, move to another spot. All right, so I'm going to add another one. Let's put a tiny one up here. The other thing you have to know with 3-point perspective, do not see. I'm just going to make a quick triangle real fast, connecting these guys. Don't work outside of that. If you do, it's a whole nother process and I have to explain it. So what I'm going to do now is, since I just realized that's so close and I'm kind of within the zone, I'm going to put one right here. Maybe just floating, like a really tiny one right here. Floating underneath. Again, I'm going to make this be silent. Another thing to know is that whenever you get this close to the horizon line, your lines really start to level out. And the plane underneath is going to be super small. It's okay. It's just sometimes you can avoid being that close to the horizon line and do it because it's hard to see what you're doing, but it's not the end of the world. You'll see what I'm talking about. So there's this little corner here. I'm going to connect to the right vanishing point. Do you see how small that plane is underneath? Left vanishing point, connect it. They intersect about right here, I think. But instead of me drawing a line straight up, I'm going to take this corner here, go to the other side. Take this corner here, go to this side. They meet right here. I'm going to take that corner there, connect it to the third vanishing point, and then go down. And that's where they meet down at the bottom. So that's the third one. I'm going to make it a little darker. Again, you're going to document these with 3 different shots and submit it into Canvas. And that's all. All right. 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. Of course, I have to draw this out because I did on the others. Spelled that incorrectly. All right, there you go. Goodbye.